It was an early morning in Ponyville. Pinkie Pie was getting ready to open Sugar Cube Corner within a few hours since she was had been trusted by the Cake family to take care of it, since they were on a vacation for about a week, and since she had always looked after their store for a number of times before, it wouldn't be much a problem for her. But this time, she wanted to do something special for the store before she opened the store for today. She had recently learned some new recipes from Applejack's mother's peer butter's recipe book. Her mother was very talented making some new recipes from about apples and even pear and based on other type of other fruits. And she found one recipe for apple pie, for apple cake, and one for pear pie. And that was something that she wanted to try. After all, she has never tried to do uh, anything about from pear. So the early that morning, she made at least a number of pies of apples and pear and an apple cake. Around noon, after that she has opened the store, she had waited for any some other customers until there was a new customers that had just stepped in, and it was a face of a pony that she had never seen before in town. She asked this pony if she is new in town, and she said yes, and she was looking for her to buy maybe an apple pie for at least for this later in the afternoon. She introduced herself as Blueberry Stardust. As when she mentioned that she has just moved, Pinkie was really excited because every time as a new pony had moved into Ponyville, she always throws a big party to celebrate. She even asked how long she had been living in Ponyville since she never seen it before. She said that she explained that she had just moved into Ponyville about at least a day earlier, and she explained that she moved from Baltimore. She was getting tired of the big city life and she wanted to move to more calmer, more quiet lifestyle. She heard that Ponyville was in fact one of the good places to live, and it was very calm, and it was not as far away from the most, not from the capital, Canterlot. So she wanted to move there after that. She heard a lot of positive things about the small town, so she moved there. And when Pinkie explained that she wanted to throw a party to celebrate that Blueberry Stardust had just moved here, she wasn't taken aback because she wasn't even aware of Pinkie Pie's party planning and everything her hyperactive personality. But she said that she was actually okay with that. And but she preferred on a Friday since she had a lot of work to stay. And since it was actually taking place on a Thursday, so Pinkie Pie was okay with that. So after the start Blueberry Stardust had left, Pinkie immediately started doing some of her planning for this party. She had already decided for what type of sweets to be baked for the party, and which pony to invite, and what type of games we're playing. Even though that she had no idea if, but then something that came to her. She had no idea where Blueberry Stardust even lived, because she forgot to even ask that part. But she decided to at least to ask around if ponies in town maybe heard about her, or maybe ask if they had a clue where she lives and or where if she's still supposed to maybe celebrate the party at the castle, or is it big enough for its larger amount of ponies. And before she decided to do it at the castle, she needed to ask Twilight for her permission first, because she didn't want to go show up there and surprise that Pinkie has that she had prepared for a party which her friends had no idea about. So later that day, she asked Twilight for permission, which she said yes. And even though that day, Applejack and her other friends, along with Pinkie, they were talking about this upcoming party, then most of their friends would actually had never heard of Bluebird Stardust, or at least aware of who this particular pony were. Only when she told them about what she learned, that she is from Baltimore, she had just moved to town for only about a day earlier, and she was moving here because she wanted more quieter lifestyle. She was tired of big city life and like that. And speaking of about that, they actually did saw her in at the market. But unfortunately, she walked away before they even could go walk up talk to her. But for what they have been told from other ponies around the town, she's a very kind, honest, and even generous pony. Always help around, always being honest about what she thinks about different opinions from if they're based on art, music, anything like that. And the day when the party was supposed to take in place, Pinkie was originally going to back to the, was going to castle around 3 p.m. to get ready for this party. But unfortunately, something came up between them. As she was about to close the store around 1 p.m. or around 2:30, but around before then, almost 2 hours before, she got a big order from a pony, or at least a parent who wanted to still. She was going to celebrate her daughter's birthday with the next by the same next day, and Pinkie had to make a large order, and that was makes like 4 cakes, double chocolate topping tipping on it, and a lot of cookies, like almost like 4 dozens of cookies, cupcakes, muffins, and a lot of things that she would needed. And if Pinkie said that she would take care of that by tomorrow. But since then, she was told the party itself was going to start at 12 a.m. the next day, and everything would have to be being delivered at least 1 hour before the party even started. And that would have makes, even though Pinkie herself realized that is a huge order and had to be taking care of that, even like she had to go wake up maybe at 5 a.m., which she normally don't even do. But she promised that she would do so. And she wrote down the order and the address for where it is going to be delivered. And the rest of the day, she took care of her things at the store, closed it, and went to the castle to prepare something for the party. And even though her friends was there to be helping to put up some of the decorations, prepared for some of the sweets that she had planned for, put up the games, system like that, and even though they were talking, since the party was about to start at like 3:30 p.m., and they were to be prepared just before that. Around the 3:30, a lot of friends started to be showing up, like Starlight and among others. But the guest of honor hadn't even shown up yet. And every pony was started wondering if the supposed Blueberry Stardust even was going to show up at all. Or if she had. But Starlight said she may have just forgotten the time. Or she may have forgotten which date it was supposed to be. Maybe she believes it was maybe tomorrow, said Applejack. Which is all a mistake if it doesn't happen, said Twilight. So Pinkie was in fact didn't know exactly where Blueberry Stardust lived, except for Rainbow, who knew. She asked if Rainbow can go get her to tell her the parties had just started, and she was had were missed it. Even though Rainbow had just started enjoying the party itself, she sighed and said, "Okay, I will go get her," and she left the castle quickly. Even though that she just left, after about left in 5 minutes, she was back already. But she was alone. They all asked where is the guest of honor. She said she wasn't even home. She was surprised to even hear that. But just only about a few moments after that, Rainbow had returned. The door knocked, and in fact, it was Blueberry Stardust. And in fact, she was the reason why she was late. It's because she was out for a walk when she realized the time. So she had to hurry back home. And when she realized that she saw Rainbow had just left at her place and realized maybe that she was sent there to get her. So she went, instead of go home, she went straight to the castle, and every pony was just laughing about things can go between happen though, because they talked about some of the things like maybe that she forgot which day, if had forgotten which date it was, and if she had even forgot time, or she has forgotten it entirely. That made Bluebird Stardust laugh a lot, but she said no, she wouldn't forget a party, even though despite that. But she started enjoying the party itself by talking to the ponies in towns over who's invited. She quickly became friends with a lot of ponies there, like Lyra, Bomb, Sweetie Drops, Starlight, and Twilight, and her friends. She just had a great time, and they wanted to know more about her life back in Baltimore, like why she wanted to leave and what the reason and how it was like to live there. Even though one thing, Twilight and Bluebird Stardust had one thing in one at least common. They both would grow up in a big city. Even though that Baltimore and Canterlot aren't even equal size of big city, but both of them are considered as a big city. So even though despite this, both actually had a great time at the party. Even though that some of the games that Pinkie has set up, Bluebird Stardust had a great time. She made a lot of new friends, she had a lot of things to eat, and she loved the sweets that Pinkie had made. She even mentioned to Pinkie that she loved to bake herself. She sometimes bakes on her spare time, or when she was back home, she used to love to bake with her grandmother before she passed away, even though she loved to bake with her mother. That was one thing that Pinkie and Blueberry Stardust bonded over, because who knew what else they could have been having so much interest. And every pony has such a great time at the party, enjoying the sweets, enjoying the music, enjoying the games, enjoying each other's company. And the party itself lasted up to midnight. Every pony has so great time they totally forgot about the time. But when Twilight realized it was midnight, and she said to Pinkie maybe it was time to end the party, after all it was midnight. When she mentioned that, a lot of ponies actually saw the time and was realized it was so late they hadn't even realized the time had moved so fast for them. They all thanked Pinkie for a great party, and once again they all welcomed Blueberry Stardust into town and hoped to see her again soon. But there was one thing after that Pinkie had helped her friends to take care of the decorations, but she realized after that had taken care of the decorations, which lasted for maybe almost an hour to be taken care of, and it was a lot of things. Like they had to take care of some of the remaining sweets and some of the games have been put back together. And after that, around 1 a.m., Pinkie had realized since she had this huge order tomorrow to take care of, and she needed some get some sleep. Pinkie said that she needed had to go home because she had to take care of a big order by the next day for a party where it's a birthday party. So Pinkie said goodbye to her friends and went back to Skooku Corner. But then, by next morning around 8 a.m., the bell rang, or her alarm wakes her up. She was supposed to wake up around 6 a.m., but when she saw the time was 8 a.m., she had been overslept for 2 hours. She was getting panicked because baking a lot of things that she needed for the party itself was a lot of pigs. But as she was getting ready, she heard some sounds in the back from downstairs. She thought maybe a customer had walked in, But how can that be? Sugarcube Corner is closed on Saturdays, or at least in the morning. The store was not supposed to be open around, like, at least at 10 a.m. So who would have been walking in? And for what purpose? So she slowly walks down, and here the sound is actually coming from the kitchen. And first she thinks, what if the Cake family is home earlier than they were supposed to be? But they were not supposed to be home for not at least on Sunday. At least Sunday afternoon. But if they were the Cake family, she would have been hearing them talking. So she walks in slowly to the kitchen, and finds is in fact Blueberry Stardust, who had been baking. She was in fact doing the baking herself. She saw there was a lot of the oven was on, there was cookies, and she was three cakes was already been done. A lot of cookies and a lot of other cakes and pies has been prepared. She wondered, how did she even get inside? But then she realized and forgot to lock the back door, and even though Blueberry Stardust heard Pinkie instead, even with her back turned, she said she wanted to help Pinkie because after she heard about this big order and that Pinkie was so tired and that she had been staying for the one more hour after the party itself was over. And it felt to her that she was feeling guilty to keeping the party as long as it had happened yesterday before. And it felt to her to help Pinkie to get ready for the party itself because she knew if the things wasn't even done, finished for the party itself, she may have lost a customer, or at least maybe her reputation as being a good party planner to be always being in time would have been damaged. Pinkie was speechless. She stood there without a word to even think of. But Blueberry Stardust said that when she turned around, she wanted to help her new friend to get ready for the party, and since she was decently skilled in baking, she wanted to improve her skills and even showing Pinkie how good she is in it. But when Pinkie did see the cakes, the cookies, and the pies that she has going to be ordered, she was impressed how much she had been done. Well, Pinkie was asleep of all things. So, despite there was only a list of things to be taken care of, Pinkie joined Blueberry Stardust to be baking the last remaining things that was needed. After that, they both sat down in the kitchen and started talking about, and Pinkie once again thanked Blueberry Stardust about her help for the baking. With the baking, without her help, she may not have been been able to deliver all the things that has been requested for the birthday party earlier later that noon. But Pinkie said that she was grateful, and if after all of this, she had no idea how much the supposed working because Pinkie had done for. Even though Bluebird Stardust said this was also as a thanks for the party since she had a great time. She had made so much new friends, even though she was not expecting that many ponies were bonds over her with some things, and she wanted to thank Pinkie as a thanks for the party, and she felt a little bit guilty that if she made the party last so long, even though it's supposed to be. And even though Pinkie said no worries, she would probably have to handle it in anyways. But since Pinkie may have even if she had even waked up at 8 a.m. or maybe as 9 a.m., she still may not have even been able to take care of all the orders, just in case. But Pinkie, if you needed any extra help, you can always have told me. It is I want to help you. I mean, it felt to me like I was responsible if you hadn't even get to do things in order in time. Even though Pinkie herself was fairly happy to it, Blueberry Stardust had helped her. And there was something about her. She was very skilled because she had made some more cookies than she's supposed to be. And Pinkie, when she tried some of them, ate one of the best cookies she had even tried. And in fact, there wasn't even one of the cookies that she had been requested from the mother a day earlier. Pinkie asked her, where did you get the recipe? She explained it was her mother's her own that she baked one after her own mother's recipes, or at least one of the family recipes that has been in family for at least two, three generations. It wasn't a secret fan recipe. She was just wanted to share some of the recipe that she had known for years. And Pinkie, she was such grateful to Blueberry Stardust about the gift, this help she had made for her. And even not only that, this bonding over baking had made them a great true friends. Even after this, even around 11 a.m., around before noon, Pinkie, along with Blueberry Stardust, went to this location and delivered all the things that was needed. And the mother thanked her for her help, and even thanked Pinkie for the delivery, and paid her. Even though that Pinkie wanted to give some of the money back to Blueberry Stardust, but she said, "No thanks. I don't want to take a payment. That is for you. I only do it as the fun help. That is all." And even after all this, Pinkie and Blueberry Stardust often went together to the Sugar Cube Corner, or they went to Blueberry Stardust home to bake a lot of things like cookies, cakes, and all the things that they can bake, and even share it with the opponents in town. And this is how Blueberry Stardust and Pinkie Pie became true friends. The end.